What's up YouTube? In this video, we're going to generate a lot of content, but we're going to do it a little bit different. So the process we're doing today is 99% AI and 1% HI, which is human intelligence. So that human input is going to ensure that our content is unique and Google loves it and indexes it. So the process today is we're going to generate a listing of SEO blog titles around a topic. Once we've got that listing, we're going to bulk generate all of that content, and it's also going to include a unique image, and then we're going to auto post it to our CMS, whether it be WordPress or Webflow, and then we're going to do some minor tweaks to make sure it looks really good, and that's going to take a couple of minutes per article. And then the final step, we're going to bulk index all of these new web pages, URLs, so that they're indexed really fast, and we can do that in just a couple of clicks. Let's get started. Okay, so the first place we're going to get started here is SEMrush, and I've just typed in this search term, how to rank on Google. What I'm looking for here is search term with volume and also maybe a reasonable keyword difficulty. This one here, how to rank higher on Google. It's got 1,000 searches a month and it's quite difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this key phrase, we'll just copy it. Then we're going to go over to Mango, and I'm in the programmatic title generator here. And so I'm just going to put in this key phrase. And what I want to do is just get the tool to generate a whole heap of long tail keywords, key phrases around this, so we can get a whole bunch of blog titles related to the same topic with the same search intent. So we'll just generate all of these titles. Here we go. We've got how to rank higher on Google quickly in 2021, step-by-step, beginners, without backlinks, with keywords, etc. So what we're going to do is just click this button here, which is going to add it into a comma separated format. Then just going to hit copy, and then I'm going to go over to Verstappen. Now I'm just going to paste them all in here. Now any that sort of jump out as me as a bit weird, or I don't think it would be worth doing an article on, I'm just going to manually delete them out. So in 2021, we don't want that. We don't want the 2022 one, so we'll just remove it. We'll just go with the rest. They look pretty good. Okay, so now what we want to do is generate all of the content for this with an image, and then we can auto post it over to our CMS. Before we hit the button here, I've already set up Make, but let's just go into it. In Make, I've set up a scenario. If you're not familiar with Make, it's a sort of a no-code automation tool. With Mango, you can use a Make webhook to grab the data from Verstappen, and then you can do a whole bunch of things with it. In this example, we're going to use a webhook to get the content, and then we are going to take the image file using a HTTP request here, and then we're going to send that over into Amazon to temporarily store it, because I might want that image for later. And then with Webflow, it is going to grab all the content, the title, the meta description, all that good stuff, and it's going to post it directly over into Webflow. So I do get a lot of questions around setting up Mango SEO with Make for a variety of reasons. If we were to set up this scenario here, I've got the favorites down here, so I actually have all these modules, but if you needed to find the module, you just hit the plus button, but because I've got them, I'll just grab them from here. So the first one we'll grab is the webhook, and we're looking for a custom webhook. Next, we want a HTTP request to get the file, so we'll just click get the file. Next, just press OK, go away on that for now. Next, we want the AWS S3. So if we just click on this one, and what we want is to do is upload a file. And the last one is Webflow. So we just click on this one. And for Webflow, if you're using it, you want to, it's an update, create an item. So it creates a new item for a collection. So that's what we're after here. And that is the stock standard method for setting up a scenario, and within each of them there's some configuration items. But the most important is the first one. So if we click on webhooks here, we want to add a webhook. We'll just call it my gateway webhook for now. And if I press save, it's going to give us a URL address. Now that's the webhook URL. We just copy this address and then we go back to Mango. Now, when I move off this, I'm going to get rid of this, so I'll have to come back to it, but we'll just go to the dashboard, and this is where you enter in your webhook. Now, if I paste it in here, it's going to ask me to update it, which I'm not going to do because I actually already have the correct webhook set up. But that's how you add the webhook into Mango so that you can use the Verstappen automation to post it over to Make. Now, just recently, Make has added a new feature, and it's called the AI Assistant. So you can do what I've just done manually, or we can actually use the assistant to help build our scenario. If we go down to the AI Assistant and we click on it, and we're going to go New Scenario, and I'm going to say discard the changes, and it's going to open up a new scenario for us. Then we click on the assistant, and I'm just going to say I need to get content using a webhook and post that content to WordPress. So we've got that typed in, and then we're just going to ask it to do it. And there you go. So it creates the webhook and the WordPress module. They just need to be configured, or you can ask the AI. So there are a couple of options to get yourself set up with Make. Now it's time to actually start posting our content through the scenario into Webflow. Okay, so I've jumped back over into Verstappen now. If you've watched the video carefully, you might notice that the title here has changed. I've had to go to the highest plan because what I'm going to show you is only available on the top plan of Mango. So I've copied the blog titles from earlier, so I'm just going to paste them in here. Now at the moment, I've got the option, I could put it to CSV, but today we are going to use Make. So you can see it's going to generate 27 posts. Now, there actually is no limit here. I could generate 127 or 127,000. It doesn't really matter. There is no limit on the top plan. So with it all set up, I just hit post to Make and we're done. Now, because it's a video, I actually just want to do maybe 5 of them because it'll take a couple of minutes for each run. So we'll cut it back to 5 posts, and I'm just going to click here, generate and post. Now, if we go back over to Make, we will actually see the content after it's been generated. The webhook is listening constantly, and as soon as it sees that there's new content available, it will grab it, run it through the process scenario, and send it over to Webflow. So let's just wait for that to happen, and then we'll go into Webflow, make a few tweaks, and get the content published. Okay, so we can see our 5 articles got sent over to Webflow okay. Now we can go over to Webflow and check them out. In Webflow, we just need to go to the database, and then we go to posts, and we should see our 5 articles staged to be published. And here they are here, with keywords, without backlinks, for beginners, step by step, quickly, and yeah, that's 5. So if we want to take a look at one, we just click on it. But what I'm looking for here is that it has the correct title, the meta title, meta description. It has an author associated with it. It has tags, categories, and that the intro text, and it's broken up a little bit to make sure that it doesn't appear like it's coming from an AI. And if it does, we need to tweak it a little bit, because sometimes when you're doing very similar content, the intros can be similar. So we just need to check that. Clicking on the article, we've got the custom fields here. So the title looks good. We've got the slug. We have the intro text. We have meta title, meta description, and keep in mind, I haven't touched any of this. It's come directly through from Mango. We have an article thumbnail because Mango also generates an image, and we have a header image as well. Further down, we have all of the content that's come across, and then in another section, we have an FAQ. Going down a bit further now, all of this is a template, so it's all mapped through to go into the right place. You don't have to touch any of this. We have an author. I could change the author. We could change it to this person here. For the category, I can alter the category, and I can also add some additional tags, and they're coming across from the other database here that I've got got set up. So that is sort of the very quick human intervention on it. The other part I typically do is I add some useful links. So depending on the article itself, I may add some links in that go to a different article or off to another service that could be helpful to the user. So just keeping in line with Google wants the content to be fresh, new, and useful. That's what we're trying to do by just a quick overview and breaking the content up and making sure that it reads well and that, a user should get some value from it. So I won't update all of these right now, but I can show you 10, 20, or 30 that have been done recently. Now, if we go to the live site, you can check all this out yourself. It's on mangojuice.app. All of these articles here that have been recently published have been done using exactly the same method that I just showed you. And if we pick one, for instance, we'll go into this how to use Reddit to rank on Google. We scroll down a bit. You can see this is what the final sort of article posted looks like. I've added in the odd backlink here and there. And if we scroll down a little bit, I did put another image in it here just to be useful and interesting to the viewer. That's the point here. I find Webflow works really well for me. A lot of people use WordPress, but Webflow has a lot of features that seem to work with more the recent technologies really well, like Make and other integrations. So if you want to use Webflow and try out their CMS, you can actually grab what's called a clonable template from their library. I'll leave a link in the description. So these sites are pretty much like templates. They're all set up, but they also have the database, the CMS, and everything you sort of need to be able to post blog content into it and then use the site for whatever purpose you want. So, check that out if you want to try Webflow. We'll go back to the main homepage here. Now, I should point out that all of these recent articles using this approach, they were indexed, they've stayed indexed, they get clicks, and they're bringing traffic to this site. When I publish content in bulk, I need to be able to get the URLs for these pages indexed in bulk, and that's what I'm going to show you now. Alrighty, so I'm just over on BitBucket here. I will leave a link in the description. This page has all the instructions to get set up, but I'm going to take you through it now so you can follow along if you want to. Also, I did do another video on this, so if I miss anything, just go and check that out. First things first, we want to go across to Google Cloud, which is here. Now, if you don't have a Google Cloud account, just grab one. It's free most of the time. And when you get in there, you just want to click on New Project. So I'm just going to call this one Indexing API, YT, and I'm going to hit Create. It'll take a few seconds to create that project, and then we're going to select the project. Okay, then we'll just go up to the menu, and we're going to click on APIs and Services. We'll go to the library, and then we'll just type in Indexing API. And this is the one we want here, Web Search Indexing API, and we're going to enable it. The next step is we just hit Create Credentials. We'll go to Service Account. We'll give it a name. I'll call it Index Test, whatever, doesn't matter. And then we'll go down to Create and Continue. Select a role. The role will be the owner. We'll hit Continue. Now this is going to generate a service account for us. So we can just hit Done. Now I'll probably hide this, but underneath this area here, there is an email address, and that is the service account. This is what we need. Now, before we jump out of here, we need to click on that service account, and we need to go up to keys, and we need to add a key, and we're going to create a new key, and it's going to be a JSON key. When you do that, it's going to save a file up into your browser somewhere. From this process, really what we needed was two things. We needed the email address, which is our service account, and we needed that JSON file. So with the JSON file, save it to your desktop. With the email account, the service account email, just copy it and put it into a notepad because we're going to need that in a minute. The next step is we go across to Google Search Console, and then we can enable Google Search Console to have a new owner, which is going to be the service account, which then allows the URLs to be indexed programmatically. Okay, so next we've jumped over to Google Search Console. If you don't have a Google Search Console set up for your domain, you need to go and do that. There's heaps of tutorials on that. Just check one out if you're not sure what to do. Once you have your Google Search Console set up for your domain, so you can see here I'm on mangojuice.app, go down to Settings, Within settings, there is users and permissions. Just click on that. It'll open up this form. And then we want to add a user. So when you do that, you get this form here. Now the service account email address, this one here, paste that email address in there. That's the service account we just created. And with the permissions, you want to give it owner permissions and then hit add. Okay, I've just jumped back over to BitBucket here. If you follow these instructions, the next step is basically you've got to install Python. If you don't already have it, you need to have Visual Studio Code, and then you also need to have this package called the Microsoft C++ build tools. Now there's a link to it there, and also it's in the downloads over here. Now if I click over into the downloads, they're the build tools, and also you'll see this data.csv file. That is a template for the way you structure your URLs of your new pages so that they can be uploaded and processed by the Google Search Console. So basically what we need to do now is, if we're going to do this, all legitimately, I would hit export here. And let's say I had 100 URLs. What I need to do then is from the export, now this is using Webflow, WordPress has something similar. We get the URL structure and we put it into the CSV file. So once we have done that, we're just about good to go. If you've got Python, you've downloaded the extra package, and you have renamed the .json file that was created in the Google Cloud, you just rename it to serve_account1.json. Now you can actually have up to 5 of these service accounts. So if you have 5 of the service accounts, you need to rename them as it's shown in the BitBucket, service account 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you could actually load in your data.csv file up to 1,000 URLs and bulk process up to 1,000 in one single batch. So we're just going to have the one service account. So we could do up to 200. I'm only going to do 10 or 11 here today just to show you how this works. If we had exported all of our new URL pages into a CSV, into that format, this is what we get. This is just a sample to show you. That's not the exact ones we did earlier. Now that we have that, the only other thing we need is this indexing.py file. You just put it into the same folder. Once you've done all of this, the last step to do is actually just type in Python indexing.py and then hit enter. It's going to ask us how many service accounts we have. So hit enter. How many service accounts have you created? We've just got the one, and it should go away and put these in the queue to be indexed. And there you go. So total URLs tried, 10, successful 10, no errors. We're all good. So that's how you can bulk process and bulk index your URLs. It's pretty straightforward. If I've gone through this a bit quick, do check out the other video. I'll put a link above or at the end or somewhere. I hope you've got some value from this video. If you have, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you in the next one.